Hello everyone. Welcome to a new Coffee with Cats. Today's topic is going to be spooky. I will be chatting about some ghost stories that have happened to me or people I know. So if you're not interested in ghost stories, this might not be the video for you. I'm going to tell the stories like a ghost story from like a book. Sort of. Instead of phrasing it from my experience or from my friend's experience, I'll like use different names and so on. So hopefully you'll enjoy this Halloween themed Coffee with Cats. So if you're interested, grab a cup of coffee and sit back, relax, and let's chat about some ghosts. So I have a little bit of a cheat sheet next to me of some different stories, things that have happened and whatnot. So the first one I'm gonna chat about is a little girl. So we're gonna say that this is Sarah's story. Okay? So Sarah has had many different occurrences with the little girl. Now, she has not seen a little girl or anything like that, but lots of things combined make it a very weird situation. One of the first things that happened with the little girl and Sarah was Sarah had a friend over, and the friend had brought her little sister. Sarah and her friend were playing in her room and just being little kids when the little sister kept staring at the closet, and Sarah and her friend couldn't understand what was wrong. So they asked her, and the little sister replied that she was looking at the girl in the closet. And of course, kind of freaked Sarah and her friend out. So they asked her why the little girl was in the closet. And she didn't know. She didn't know why she was there, if she was nice, if she was mean. There just was a little girl in the closet that was looking at her. So that was always creepy thought in the back of your head, that a little girl is living in the closet. A few years later, new neighbors moved in next door to Sarah. And because Sarah's family had lived there for a while, the mother of the new neighbor family came over and asked some questions. She had been dreaming about a little girl walking through their house. And one night, she got up and she believed she was fully awake. She had started getting ready for work very early in the morning when it was still dark out. And she saw the little girl standing in the hallway. When she tried to talk to the little girl, it was very small answers. Of course, the questions were, who are you? What do you want? Things like that. The little girl didn't talk much, but she was just seen wandering through the house. So the mom wanted to know if Sarah's family knew anything about a little girl living in the neighborhood or in her house, or if anything tragic had happened in that house. As far as Sarah's family knew, nothing bad had happened in that house, or on the street, or anything. But the mother kept seeing this little girl often. And eventually, the new neighbor family became used to this little girl being seen in their house. So, that was always a thought in Sarah's mind, that a little girl was in her closet and then just right next door. And this was all years ago. That family eventually moved, not because of the little girl, just moved to a different state. Nothing really came of it. As I said, Sarah hadn't really seen anything for herself, just had been there a couple times when other people had talked about it. Recently, another neighbor was going for a walk with his son. And as they were walking down the street, the son, who is about 4, looked at his dad and asked what that girl was doing. The dad was very confused. It was late at night and there was no kids out. And he asked his son what he was talking about. The little boy said that there was a girl over there by the light. Of course, the dad looked and there was nobody there. And the little boy insisted that there was a little girl in the light walking across the street. And he said that she shouldn't be out this late without her mommy or daddy. They kind of went about their business, not really knowing what the boy had seen. But it was just another instance of a little girl being seen in the same area. Now, if you ask the little boy any questions about the girl, he doesn't really know. Hasn't seen her again, just that one night, walking with his dad, and he saw the little girl run across the street and disappear. So, those are the stories of the little girl. The story that Sarah has heard about the little girl living in her neighborhood. Creepy. So, let me look at my list. What do we have next? I think we'll go to Lily's story. Okay, so Lily's story is based around her family's home. Her family's home has been in her family for a few generations. So it's an older house, and multiple generations have lived in this house. Lily, one day, was getting ready to go to work, and she was going through her makeup bag. She was looking for a specific lipstick, and for the life of her, she couldn't find it. She had the makeup bag sitting in the sink, so she could use the mirror in the bathroom. She left the room to go towards her room to see if the lipstick was in there. She got to the hallway when she heard something fall in the bathroom. When she walked back in, the makeup bag, which was in the sink, was up and out of the sink and on the floor. And the only thing that fell out of the makeup bag was the lipstick she was looking for. On another occasion, Lily was having a bad day and was trying to just rest in her room. After a while, she started to doze off. And she started to hear what sounded like, to her, like a comforting voice. But she didn't recognize the voice or anything. So she just continued kind of drifting to sleep. She started to feel almost what she says, a presence. And she felt as if the covers were coming to tuck her in. She had been laying on the top of her comforter, and when she woke up from her nap, a blanket that had been across the room was now draped over her, and she was tucked in. She was home alone during this time, and she does not remember getting up herself to grab the blanket. Lily believes that this could be her great-grandmother, who she never met, but has heard so many stories about what a lovely lady she was. And during these occurrences, Lily has never felt scared or frightened, just felt something there. So perhaps Lily's great-grandmother is her guardian, her watcher. I hope you guys are enjoying the stories. Alright, so our last story is going to be about Trevor and Holly, who are co-workers and have both experienced creepy things at work. So it's an older building they work at, and some occurrences have happened up front where customers will be, or some things have happened in the back. So we'll just chat about some of those. So this has happened quite a few times to both Trevor and Holly. Things falling off shelves. And normally they say that, things fall off shelves, it's normal. The couple times that it's happened that were scary were when things were very far back on a shelf and yet they still fell off. For example, Trevor was in the back, moving around some of the products and whatnot. And there was some shelves for storage that were kind of slanted. And he was loading in some of those things into the slanted type shelves. And he turned his back, and for some reason, one of the items moved up and off the shelf. So like that. He caught just out of the corner of his eye when it fell, and he couldn't really figure out why it moved up and off the shelf. And there was stoppers to almost prevent that from happening, I believe. So that gave him the creeps. He was all alone in the back by himself, and that thing just happened to fall off. Holly had a similar occurrence, but up front, before anyone was there, early in the morning before the store was open. Had an instance where she was across the store but could still see some of the shelvings on the far wall. And as she was preparing to open the store, she saw a few items start to wiggle on a straight shelf. So all the front items started to wiggle. And then one by one, they fell off the shelf. Now, kind of being a skeptic that she is, she was convinced that someone had left a door open, or there was a fan, or something was wrong with the shelf. But nothing came of it. She looked and there was no doors open, there was no fan, there was nothing. So she just went about her business and put the things back on the shelf. Until a couple months later, when the exact same shelf did the same thing to her again. At their job, they have also had instances of, in the back, doors opening on their own and slamming. Some of the storage closets or stairs, doorways to stairs, sounds of people walking up the stairs, and things like that. And it is an old, creepy building, so who knows. Trevor and Holly both have had instances where the store is fairly quiet, not that many people in, and feeling as if there's something watching them from the side. And of course you do the quick glance and there's nothing there. But there's always that negative tingle feeling going down your spine when you feel something creepy. And apparently this has happened to them on many occasions. So, those are my ghost stories that I have gathered from real life people. Perhaps some are mine, perhaps some are my friends or family. Whatever the case, if you believe in ghosts or not, hopefully you enjoyed this video and its Halloween theme. I'm going to go work on something and finish my coffee. Hope you guys have a great day.